So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 4, no, Chapter 3 still, from verse number 34. We read how Hiranyakashipu, he was visited by Lord Brahma because he was performing this severe penances. And Brahma threw some water from his kandala on his bones. He came to life and he started praying. So if you want someone to praise you, you have to do that. Okay? That is the teaching. So he recited very nice prayers to Brahma. Brahma was very pleased. And then after that, put your demand. If you want to ask something, some favor to someone, don't just go and immediately ask. First praise him, that you are so generous, so kind, and without you, how can I live? So the person, even if he is hard-hearted, at least a little bit softer. If it is hard, you cannot take out. So he says, Ananta Vyakta Rupena Yenedam Akhlam Tatam Chidat Shakti Chit Achit Shakti Yuktaya Tasmai Bhagavate Namaha. Says, I am paying my obeisances to you, who are the Supreme Bhagavan, Supreme Lord, having two types of energies, conscious and inert. And through your Avyakta Rupa, unmanifest form, you have pervaded the whole universe, you are unlimited. So as we said earlier that he is actually praying to him, just like Brahma is Supreme Lord. Usually in the material world, praise is always little exaggerated. When you praise somebody, if you have attended some meetings and then people are praising each other, right? So it is little added up, expanded. So because why people do it? Because usually people have a motive. Otherwise, why you want to waste your words on somebody? You have a motive to fulfill. So then you add things. It's not really coming out from the heart. Or sometimes people are in ignorance when they talk, like him. So that's why he is saying that Brahma is Ananta. Brahma is not Ananta. And Avyakta Rupena Yenidam Akhilam Tatam, that you are spreading everywhere. This is what Krishna says, Maya Tatam Idam Sarvam Jagad Avyakta Murtina. Says that I am pervading the whole universe by my unmanifest form. So he is saying this for Brahma. And it is Krishna who had Chit Shakti and Achit Shakti. So these are the two major potencies, conscious and inert. And he is applying them to Brahma. So Vishwanath Chakravarti says, Chit Shakti Rantranga Swarup Bhuta Chit Shakti Maya Gunamayi Bahiranga. So this Chit Shakti is also called Antaranga Shakti or internal potency. This is within the Swarupa of the Lord in his own person. And Achit Shakti means the Maya. So this is external to the Lord. This is also called Bahiranga. And this is what consists of three gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. And it is from this that the universe is manifest. So, Gunatita Gunmaya Leelartham Yukta. So, this says because Lord is doing two types of activities. Some are material or within the gunas and some are beyond the gunas. So therefore he has two types of energies. But this Chit Shakti, Achit Shakti, this is actually the conclusion of the Vaishnavas. So now he comes to the point. Enough of praise and glorification. Now, what do you want? Don't waste time. Ask for it. So he says, Yadi dasyasi abhimatan varan me varadottama bhutebhyastvadvisrishtebhyo mrityumam bhun mama prabho. So Brahma, of course, has already told him that I have come to you and my darshan will not go waste. So you ask something from me. Right? He said it. So now he says that, Lord, if you want to give, means he has little doubt, maybe not. The reason for this, why he is saying yadi, if, because he wants to get something which is not possible. We already read what was in his mind. He wanted actually to be more powerful than Brahma. So how can you give something to somebody what you don't have? You can only give what you possess, right? So he actually wants to be more powerful than Brahma and do things opposite of what Brahma has done. So that's not possible. But his first worry is death, because everybody has fear of death. So even he was worried about this, because he has already seen his brother dying. And he gave a big lecture that Atma never dies, but he is worried. So that is the first thing he says. So basically he wanted to become immortal. But he realized that even Brahma is not. So he is clever. So therefore what he is going to now ask boons in a roundabout way, so that he becomes immortal. So this is materialistic mind. Materialistic people, they always want to remain young and free from death. So a lot of research is going on in this field, how you don't have to die and you don't have wrinkles on your face. But at least Hiranyakasipu, he knew that death cannot be avoided. So now he is asking for some boons, that somehow maybe I will not die. And then he will terrorize everybody. So this is what science does not see. Many times scientific people, they do research without seeing the wrong side of it. That what can be the trouble. So this story in Hitopdesh, then there was a bird, and he laid eggs. So there was a snake and he will eat up the eggs. So he thought, what can be done, how to get rid of this problem. So he collected fish and he put fish and got this mongoose, because mongoose can fight with the snake and kill him. So somehow he dropped fish so that the mongoose will follow it, and he brought him to his nest. So the mongoose came there, and when the snake came, then obviously mongoose killed. But now the mongoose started eating the bird himself. So when you find a solution for something, you have to also see that what can be the side effect of it. That is very important. Otherwise, sometimes the medicine is more problematic than the disease. Why? Because it cures the disease and then it gives you a disease which is worse than the disease you had. So you can make people immortal. Suppose now they are doing research in the genes. And because cells are dying in the body, and if you can rejuvenate the cells, you will not die. This is their theory. So suppose you do that, and then people will not die, then what will happen? Now they have what, 7 billion people, then there will be 70 billion. And then they will not even be able to kill. So what do they do? So they don't think of that problem. Especially if people are irreligious, impious, and they don't die, they will only... Some criminal people are the first one to make use of it. So that's what Hiranyakashipu is saying. He says, Yadi dasya viya vimatan varan me vardottame. He says, you are the giver of the best boons, or you are the best of those who give boons. So please give me this if you can. And that is bhutabhyas tvad visrishtebhyo mrityu mam bhoon me prabhu. Mama Prabhu. That I should not be killed by any being who is created by you. That means in the universe, because they are all creation of Brahma, nobody should be able to kill me. So that means now he can go and start fighting with everybody. And no one will be able to kill him. So that is the first one. Nanu alametavattya stutya varanstavad grihana tatraha yaditi. So Brahma, he heard of these prayers enough, he said, okay, stop. I have to go back. Just come to the point, what do you want? So he said, okay. Hiranyakashipo ratra ashaya. Yadi aham mrityur bhuyasam iti varam aham amrityur bhuyasam iti varam yachishe tada varo ayam asambhavaya. So Hiranyakashipu, he was intelligent. He said that if I ask him that make me immortal, then it is impossible. Brahma cannot do it. So let me go round about. Yata kalpante vayam brahmadeyopi marishyama. Because even Brahma, he also dies and the time for universe to dissolution. So he says, I will find a technique. So it's just like one lady, she was worshipping some deity, and finally the deity appeared to him and said that you take one boon from me. So now she can only take one boon, but she wanted more than one. So what she did, she actually wanted that she lives very long. She wanted long life, and she wanted wealth, and she wanted health. So if he says I live long, then I may be poor and sick. That's useless. Or if I want health, okay, I'll be healthy but I die tomorrow. Or I want wealth, but I cannot digest any food. Sometimes rich people are like that. They cannot digest anything. They are only drinking mung soup. So she said, if you want to give me, then bless me, that I want to see my great-grandchildren eating sweet rice in golden plates. So that means she has to live that long. There has to be enough wealth that they have golden pots and eating sweet rice. So this is called asking the same thing but in indirect way. So this is what Hiranyakashipu is also planning. That kalpante vayam brahmadeyopi marishyama eva iti madvaram pratyakhyashyate eva. He says, if I ask this, then Brahma will say, even I have to die. So what is the use of asking this? Tasmad evam yuktya varam virnomi yat phalato amratvam eva praptam bhavishyate. So I will ask my boons in such a way that the total result will be that I will not die. Cumulative effect of my bones will be that I will remain immortal. So therefore it says, Tvad Visrishtebhya iti sarvesham bhutanam brahma srishtatvad aprako avishishta. So all people in the universe, they are creation of Brahma. Except that now, if scientists have created something by some mixing of genes, then they can kill him. But at that time there were no such scientists. So everything was created by Brahma, so that means no one can kill him. But then he wants to make sure, because he really wants to be very fixed in his goal. So he says, Nantar bahir divanaktam anyasmadapi chayudhei ne bhumo nambare mrityur nanarena mrigairapi. So he says, I should not be killed outside the house or inside the house. So where will you be killed? Even if someone has to kill you, even if some scientist has created some bacteria, like they say chemical warfare, so they may create some kind of virus which will kill. Suppose somebody creates a virus like this, and that is not a creation of Brahma, and that can come and kill me, right? Or some sages also have power to create. Like Durvasa Muni, he pulled out one hair from his head and he threw it on the ground, and one hobgoblin came and wanted to kill Ambrish. So somebody can come like this. So he says, I should not be killed inside the house or outside the house. And where will I be killed? Nowhere. And Divanaktam Anyasmadati. And I should not be killed inside in the daytime or at night. And I should not be killed by any weapon. I should not be killed on earth or in the sky. I should not be killed by human beings or by any animal. So, although he has already said, I should not be killed by creation of Brahma, but still just to make sure that no human being or no animal should kill me. So mrityu swatopi sambhaveditya. Even if no one is going to kill me, I can die by myself. Right? I can have a heart attack, or I can get diarrhea, right? And then I die. Sometimes people die by diarrhea. One Babaji died in our ashram like that. He was constipated, so doctor gave him medicine. So still he was constipated. I called the doctor that it didn't work. So he says, you give the double dose. So I gave the double dose. Still didn't work. So then I called him again. He says, you make it 4 times. So I gave him 4 times. And he had diarrhea. The whole night I was cleaning him. In the morning he died. So he can also die. And there was a tribal chief, he had constipation. So his wife went to the doctor and said that he didn't know much English, so she said, big chief, no shit. So the doctor gave him medicine. Said, you give this and come tomorrow and report. So she went and she gave the medicine. Next day she came and said, what happened? So he said, big chief, no shit. The doctor was surprised, says, how is that? So he gave double dose. So he said, you come and report tomorrow. So she went and gave it. So next day she again came, says, what happened? Says, big chief, no shit. So the doctor was really puzzled, said, such a strong medicine I'm giving. So he gave it 4 times. So he says, no, you give it will surely cure him. So she went. Next day she came, she was looking very sad. So I said, what happened? He said, big shit, no chief. So Hiranyakasipu, he wants to make sure that he doesn't die with diarrhea. Because in the olden days there were no attached bathrooms. People have to go in the open. In India still, most people do that. And for him to die outside. So he is asking for that boon that neither outside nor inside. So nantar bahir divanaktamiti सर्वदेश काल निषेधेन स्वाभाविको मृत्यु varita. So by asking that he should not die in the daytime, the night, outside, inside, means he has made sure that he will not die natural death. So nobody can kill him, and he cannot die with disease or with old age, because if he has to die with disease or old age, he has to die somewhere, inside, outside, day, night. So now he will not die. साकारो वराहदि रूपो विष्णु ब्रह्माशिष्ट एव सतु निराकार सन यदि चक्रादि अस्त्रम चाले तद तरहि अनर्थम इति आशंका है अन्यस्मात्. So now why he is saying that should not be killed by a weapon or by others? So he thought that this Vishnu is not created by Brahma. So he says, I should not be killed by someone else. And Vishnu can just throw the weapon. It doesn't have to be there. So he says, therefore I should not be killed by any weapon. Yes, the weapon can come and kill you. Like these days they have missiles, right? The guided missiles. So there's no one. There's no one in the plane, it's only the plane going and dropping the missile. So he says, I don't want this type of death. So, अंतर्बहि शब्दाभ्याम सर्वदेशस्य प्राप्तत्वेपि तव संबंधी शब्दत्वेन प्रतियोगी विशेषो उपस्थापकत्वे अनर्थ इति आशंक्य पुनर्देशं निषिध्यति न भूमो इति अनेन सप्तपातालनाम अम्बरे इति अनेन सप्तस्वर्गाणां न निषेधः. So says that he has already said that he should not die inside, outside, and day and night. But then he said, well, someone in Nyaya, Indian logic, he can be little clever and he can evade things by applying some upadhis and things like that, relations. So he is making sure, therefore he says neither on earth nor in the sky. And then why did he say not by human beings or by animals? Because you see, Brahma does not create everything himself. Brahma creates his own sons, all this Marichi, Pulastya, Pulha, Kratu, Vasishtha, Daksha and so on. And then he appoints people like Daksha to create further, right? So therefore Daksha is called Prajapati. So Daksha created human beings. Brahma did not create human beings. He created sages, divine beings who live on upper planets. So therefore he says I should not be killed by these people created by Daksha. So for that he says न नरैरिति दक्षादि श्रेष्ठ भूतेभ्यो वयमाशंक्य नरैरिति. And then Vyashubhirva Ashumad Surasura Mahorgaihi Apratidvandatam Yuddhe Ekpatyam Cha Dehinam. I should not be killed by those who have no life here. See, like the nails. So nails are not weapons, right? No one says that nail is a weapon. Nail does not have life here. That's why you can cut it, you don't feel pain. If it has life air in it, you feel, because consciousness is wherever the life air is flowing. If you stop the life air, then you don't feel consciousness. You don't feel anything. So somebody can kill you with a nail. So therefore it says Veshumadhubhirava. And Ashumadhubhirava and anybody who has life air also not be killed by that.
But nails grow.
Yeah, but the last part.
The top part only.
The top part, obviously if you are going to kill somebody, you are going to kill with the top part, not with the part which is right. So nail is something which has life and does not have life. It is growing, so it has life, but the front part, you don't feel anything, you can cut it, it has no life. The hair also like that. They are growing, but somebody can clip your hair while you are sitting and you don't know. And even when you are sitting and asking someone to clip, you don't know that there is force is doing. So this was about death, and then I should not be killed by the devas or the asuras, all these other various types of living beings, snakes and all. And then this is to make sure that I am not killed, but that is not the only thing. The real thing he wants is that he wants to conquer everybody. So therefore it says aprati dvandatam yuddhe ekpatyam cha dehinam, that I should be unconquerable by any enemy. No one should be able to defeat me. And ekapatyam cha dehinam, and I should rule over all embodied beings. Anybody who has a body, I should be able to rule over that person. So sarva jiva jati naam ullekhan ashakyatvadah vesubhi pranhinai asumadbhi pranasahite. So it is not possible to list various types of species, that I should not be killed by this, I should not be killed by that. So therefore it says simple, anything which has life do not kill me, anything which does not life. Asu means life air. So in case of course Lord Nrsimhadev, he does not have life air. He is spiritual being. He is not living on this air. That's why he killed. And his hair or his nails are transcendental. They have nothing to do with life here or non-life here. They are spiritual. Yatha, then he says, Sarvesham lok palanam mahimanam yathatmana tapo yoga prabhavanam yannarishyati karhichit. So he says that I should rule over everyone, all the Lokpalas. Every planet has one personality behind it, which is in charge of that. Earth is also, there is a personality, Mother Earth, like that Sun, Moon, Mars, there are personalities behind it. It's like you have your house, so house is not without a master, right? So this earth is a house for so many people, so there is also somebody behind it. So these are called presiding deities. They are overseeing everything. So he says that I should rule over all of them. I should be the master of all these people. He said just like you, that Brahma is above everyone in this universe, so I should be like that. And tapo yoga prabhavanam yannarishyati karhichit. And those people who have some powers, yogic powers, mystical powers, some siddhis, by performing tapasya, he says I should have all those powers. Can become small, become big, heavy, light, fly into the air, getting things from far away, changing form. These are various yogic siddhis which are possible. So he said becoming invisible. Now they have devised a type of dress, if you wear that to become invisible. Because they say that you actually see objects when light reflects from something, right? So if something is that it absorbs 100% light, then you won't see it. Like a black hole. So they are making a dress like this. So you put this dress on, then you become invisible. Then what will happen?
Fun.
So they are doing very nice research. Then crime will increase.
Yes.
Because now you are free to do anything. So he says that I should have all these powers which will never be destroyed. Yatha atmana stavasti तथा तपोयोगभ्याम प्रभाव येषाम तेषाम यत्निमाद्य ऐश्वर्यम निरुष्यति नश्यति तच्चले. So basically he has asked for two things. One is that I should not die, natural death by disease or by someone else fighting with me, and then I should be able to rule over everybody. And for that I must also have all types of special powers. So there are 8 types of main powers: anima, mahima, lagna, garima, kama, saita, prapti, ishita. So these are various types of powers. And then there are further secondary. So you say that I should have all of them. And then you can have them for some time. Says no, I should have them all the time. Because he is not thinking of dying, so he should have them. So these are the boons he asked for. Well thought out. If you have to ask from somebody, better plan it nicely. Like Hiranyakashipu. Instead of later on repenting. So this is the end of 3rd chapter. Now Chaturtha Adhyaya, 4th chapter, Narada Uvacha. Evam Vrita Shatadhritir Hiranyakashipo Ratha Pradat Tattapsa Prito Varastasya Sudurlabhan. So when Brahma was asked like this by Hiranyakashipu, he immediately gave them. He said Tathastu. And this much was enough for him to say. Brahma doesn't have to do anything more. All he has to say is, let it be so. And as soon as he said it, Hiranyakashipu immediately got all the powers. All the boons became effective immediately. Sometimes you get some powers and then they say, it will become effective after I die. Like people write will. So will is effective only when the person dies. So that is the problem with will. If you have property and you write will for somebody, then that person becomes your enemy because he wants to enjoy your property and he's thinking, when will this guy die? So he immediately gave him, became effective right from that point. Why is that? Tapsa Prito, because he was very pleased with Hiranyakashipu's penance. Because Brahma has also performed tapasya. So he was happy to see someone else doing like that. Of course he knew that this will be the cause for Lord to appear.
That makes sense.
Hmm?
That makes this, because I was thinking, why would Lord Brahma do
Yeah,
that?
why should he be happy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason is that now this fellow, he will create trouble and then Lord will appear and then we will get a chance to have his darshan. So that is the idea. So although these varas, these boons, they are sudurlabhan, they are very rare, they are difficult to achieve. No one can achieve boons like this. Still he gave. So varan labdha dushan vishnum devam devan nirasasa prahladasya guna prem bhakti rutta sturya iriyate. So what is described in this chapter is that after he got these boons, then the first thing is that he declared his enmity towards Lord Vishnu. Because he wants to take revenge for his brother's death. So blood for blood. This is a very old principle in humanity. There are families, sometimes certain dynasties, they fight with each other, keep on killing, taking revenge. So he also wants to do that. And devam devat nirasya, and then he threw out all the devatas, the devas from the higher planets, from their post, because he takes charge of everything. So prahladasya guna prem bhakti sturya utthaya sturya iriyate. But the interesting thing is that he will have his enemy in his own house. God is very interesting. So this Hiranyakashipu, he will terrorize the whole universe, but then he will have a son who will be a devotee of Vishnu, and such a great devotee of Vishnu that he will become an ideal for the devotees. So the character of Prahlad will be described in the later part of this chapter. This is the summary of chapter number 4. There will be description of Hiranyakashipu's terrorism. Terrorism is an old business, nothing new. And then the last part will describe the good character of his son called Prahlad. So that's what we will read in this chapter. So Hiranyakashipuna tasya tasmi. So he gave the boons to Hiranyakashipu, being pleased with him. Although they were very difficult, to give. So he says, yadyapi ime durlabha. Although they are very not easily attainable boons, but still he gave them. So what did Brahma say? Brahma said like this. Tate me durlabha punsham yan vrni varan mama tathapi vitramyanga varan yadapi durlabhan. So he spoke very affectionately to him. He is calling him as Tata. Tata is like small child, you say Tata. Sometimes Tata is also used for father. For small children also affectionately you say Tata. So he says, my dear boy, what you are asking, these are very rare to achieve for any human being. Yet I give them to you, although they are very, very durlabha. So this is what it says. Yadyapi me durlabha, tadapi iman durlabhan vitrami iti vyavahit anvaya. Sodhavya ched evam vyakhayam varan kidrishan yata prapnuvatam api durlabhan yan prapya api na prapnuvanti. So Vishwanath Chakravarti, he writes a nice commentary, very good point he makes, because the way the verse is written, the word durlabha comes at the end, which means difficult to achieve, and the varan, the boon, comes before. Usually the adjective should come before the noun, it is qualifying, right? Like it's a red flower. You don't say that I got a flower red. So he says that this should have come, but this is not how the verse says it. So this has a meaning, why the verse is written like it. So he says the meaning is that although he got the boons, so that's how it is that Hiranyakashipu got the boons difficult to get. So he says the word difficult to get has been put at the end, because although he got them, but it was as good as if he did not get them. Because his idea was that he should not be killed, right? But he got killed. He will get killed. So although he got these boons, but ultimately the boons did not work. Some of them worked. He will become very powerful, he will terrorize, he will have the mystic power. But the thing that he will not be killed and he will be able to rule over the universe perpetually, that did not happen. So that's why it says that the word durlabhan has come at the end. Tato jagama bhagavan amogha nugraho vibhu pujita survaryene stuyamane prajeshwaraihi. So after that, Brahma, he went back to his own abode after he blessed him, and he was worshipped, he was again worshipped by Hiranyakashipu, and he was also glorified by other people who had come with him, Daksha, Kashyapa, etc. His rishis, Marichi, they came with him. So being praised with them, he went back to his own abode. So now we will see what he does. So everything has good side and bad side. We should know this. and everything has use and misuse of it. A knife is neither good nor bad. It depends how you use it. You can use it to cut vegetables, or you can attack it with it someone. So same with weapons, they can be used for security purposes or they can be used for crime. So similarly, every power has its utility and its misuse. So if power comes in the hand of person who is not pure-hearted and very selfish, materialistic, then the power will be misused. So this is the problem with the present society, that everybody has power now. Computer also has power, internet has power, telephone has power. These are powers. You can do so many things. Weapon available. Just today's newspaper, there was news that in America, one 2-year-old kid killed her own sister, 12-year-old, with a gun. It was lying maybe in father's drawer or somewhere. He took out and with that shot, and sister died. So this is power coming in the hand of unqualified people. So Vedic education system was that first make the person qualified and then give him or her power. Now there is no program to making a person qualified, and everybody is qualified to get power. Because if you have money in your pocket, then you can buy anything. So that's why money is power. But if this power is in the hand of unqualified people, then it only does damage and disturbance to yourself and to others. So that's what is happening, and therefore then government, state government has to make so many laws. There are so many rules now. It's amazing. If any one of you have studied law, and you know.
Well, when you were describing his different requests, right, I was thinking, well, he probably had a lawyer to advise him, and it would have taken a more smart lawyer to get around it. It's very legally orientated.
Yeah, so that is what. First, there is a law that you have to make so many law to protect people's rights, because there are so many crooks who are trying to take advantage. So the state, this is one of the very important functions of the state, to make law, to protect people. And there are so many laws, amazingly, in any field now, and at different levels. It's not only that the state level, at the municipality level there is a law. And if you go to the university, then there is a law there. If you go to the school, there is a law there. Traffic law is there. Every department has a law. Income tax department has its own law. So how much law, and we are supposed to know this. How much can you know? So we cannot know, therefore then we have lawyers who know how to go around the law. That is their main business. Their main business is how to evade the law, and they charge for it very nicely. So this is happening because power has come into the hand of unqualified people. If people are qualified and they have power, then they will use it to help others. So my own experience is that here, the mafias who trouble people, they have all studied law.
Yeah.
Mafias, they know law better than the lawyers. And they take advantage of that. Because then they will misuse this and trouble others, and then how not to get caught by the law. So they are the one who study it very nicely. So this is power coming in the hand of unqualified people. And that's what is troubling. But the state government makes no plan to improve the heart of people. How to actually make them clean in their heart, in their desires, give them rights, and then put so many tax on them, because all this law then has to be executed, and that costs money. Making law is costing money, and then you have to execute it. It costs. So all that burden comes on the law-abiding citizens. Somebody actually wrote very nicely that how they spend so much money on these people who live in the prisons. They have a better life without paying any tax than the person who is working hard for it. So this actually encourages people to go to prison. So therefore, as soon as he got this, then he started his program. He says, Evam labdhavaro datyo bibhrad hemamayam vapuhu bhagavati akaro dvesham bhraturvadham manusmaran. So in this way, when he got the boon, which means he got the power, then this Datya, this materialistic person, and now he had hemamaya vapu, he had a golden body. He became very resplendent because of this water being thrown from Brahma's pot. So he became very effulgent. So Hemayam, Hema means golden, which also means that his name was anyway Hiranyakashipu before also. That now he was really into wealth. So what is the first thing he did? He said he declared his enmity towards the Supreme Lord, thinking about the death of his brother. So this was in his heart. So even after doing this tapasya, his heart did not become clean. Heart was still full of envy and hatred. So what is the use of spiritual practice if you don't get your heart cleaned of hatred and envious feeling? Then it is of no use. So we will stop here, then we will see how he is going to now terrorize everybody. Any question on this?
How it is possible a person practice spiritual practice, like the last words that you said, and when his heart is not purified?
Because if you don't practice with proper motive, as I said that everything has two sides, so even spiritual practice can be misused. Mantras have power, right? So you can also misuse that. So therefore you have to have proper guidance. He did not have a guru. So this is what happens when you don't have a guru and you make up with your own mind. You don't know what you are doing is right or wrong, your goal is right or wrong. Because you are following your mind which is polluted to begin with. And with that polluted mind you are making decisions yourself. And then they will also be colored with that pollution. So that's why you need guidance. So people utilize spiritual practice, spiritual knowledge for material gain, material power. It's happening all over the world.
So coming back to this purification of the heart, doesn't happen automatically then?
Nothing happens automatically except that you get old and die.
This is
It happens automatically.
And your nails grow automatically.
Even when you sleep.
But it's very interesting that some part of the body they don't have consciousness, right? But still they are part of the body and some part is. So it looks to me that it's something that is there just to make us to, like giving to us an example of what all kind of things that they have been created, and to make us also understand that this, just an example like this woman which is cut in two, and then the both of part they have life in it. So how things they are working in a different logic, so that there's not everything is so obvious. Something is also going out of the line, just to stimulate to try to understand more. Something unusual, something.
I've just been thinking of how we can see the news of what's going in the world today as being just another event of what you're talking about, the demoniac qualities. They're not different, it's just in a modern context.
Yeah, that's what is happening. So basically, that's why Shastra is giving knowledge. Only the language is different. But if you understand the meaning behind it, it's applicable even now.
Yeah, because there's countries here, it's not one person doing tapasya like that, but countries are being overtaken by another force for the sake of wealth.
Yeah, or there are scientists who are doing tapasya, they are working very hard to do research. And then that research is basically to terrorize people. Okay,